All right, welcome to this training section that we're going to be talking about how to go ahead and get set up with option number 1, which is setting up your @domain.com professional email address. So this is your branded email address that's going to be on your own domain. So again, I want to go ahead and make sure that if you are going through this training, that means that you have decided to go ahead and proceed with option number 1, and you do acknowledge and you do understand that that is going to cost $6 a month, and you do understand that there is going to be slightly a little bit more initial setup. However, the pro of this, and as you go through the end of this training section, what's going to happen is that you're going to have everything set up so you never have to worry about it ever again. And it's an official email address that is for your business. It is official inbox. It's also going to come up with all of the additional business suite of tools that are going to allow you to make sure that you are rocking and rolling. The other benefit of this is that later on, we are going to be talking about email deliverability inside of a training that is going to be up and coming. But the beautiful thing about this is that once you proceed with this option number 1, you are not going to have to worry about any of that setup in the future, because what's going to happen is that when you send business emails, because you already have a business email domain at domain.com, it is going to be sent via your business email. So that way it's straightforward, it's very easy. And then also when your prospects, your clients, whoever actually emails your inbox, it's going to go directly into your business email inbox. So there's no additional setup that's going to be required outside of what it is that we're going to be doing inside of this training section. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into it, the step-by-step of creating your @domain.com email. So what you're going to go ahead and do is you are going to go ahead and go over to workspace.google.com. Now, what you can do is you can go ahead and type that in over here if you would like. So you can go to workspace.google.com. Okay, so you can go ahead and type it in over there, or you can just go over to Google and type in Workspace Google, right? And then show up like that. So Google Workspace will show up that way as well. So either or is completely fine. And then once you go ahead and get over to here, Google Workspace, and let me go ahead and explain this for just a second here. Okay, so Google Workspace is the business product of the Gmail Google Suite, right? So normally you and I, we are used to the normal Gmail, right? So you sign up for a Gmail account, and then Gmail is going to come with automatically, that means you have a Google account. Okay, and that Google account is then going to give you access to Google Docs, Google Sheets, all of that kind of stuff, right? However, all of this is on the personal side of things, okay? And so Google Workspace, this is when you have the same tools, but this time it's going to be on the business side of things, okay? So I hope that is clear. If you have any questions about that, make sure you do ask in the community. But once you get over here, all you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to just go ahead and click on Get Started. And then once you get over here to Get Started, you'll see that it's a very professional. You'll see it kind of gives you an idea here is to work remotely with confidence, do more with Google Workspace, custom email with your domain, cloud-based, no installation needed, advanced security and admin features. So again, all of this is specific to the product, which is Google Workspace. That is a business product, right? So if I come over here, let's say we go Body Forge Wellness, okay? And then in this case over here, I'm just going to put just me, okay? But let's say, for example, I had 2 or 9, it doesn't, really matter there. Then I can go next. Then what's going to be your contact information, right? So this is going to be, let's say, for example, my name is John Doe, right? Of course, you're going to put your own name there. And then let's say, for example, that my email address, and I'm just going to go ahead and put a test email address here, is going to be directoroftrade@gmail.com. Again, that's just a demo email. So I'm just going to go ahead and put something there. Now, does your business have a domain? Okay. So in this case, if you're going through this training, that means that you already would have purchased the domain in a previous training. If you haven't done that, why the heck are you going through everything out of order? Because this entire program was meant to be done in order. So please follow these steps one by one. Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and do is, do you have a domain name? Yes, I do. You're going to enter in your domain name. Now, in this case, again, I am going to go ahead and use a test demo domain name here. Obviously, you're going to be putting in your domain, and hopefully you've gone ahead and purchased that through Cloudflare according to our recommendation, because that's going to be so much easier for you because you have the entire system set up. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and put in our test domain here. Okay, so in your case, you're going to put your domain. And then from there, it's going to go ahead and say, use this domain. Yes, this is the domain that I want to go ahead and get set up. Email sent to domain won't be affected until you set this account. Okay, beautiful. Then I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then it's going to go ahead and say, hey, how are you going to sign in? And so right over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, and this is where you're now going to create what your actual name is going to be for your domain. So let's say, for example, we're going to do, and the one that we would recommend, that's probably the most universal, is just support, right? So you do support at bodyforgefitness.com, support at theyasin.com, support at NutriFitWellness.com, support at companydomain.com, right? That's the whole point of why we are setting up at domain.com email, right? And then of course, right over here, you're gonna go ahead and enter in your password. So whatever password you're gonna go ahead and use, you're gonna go ahead and put that right over there. And then once you have that in there, you are gonna go ahead and go through the CAPTCHA, which is gonna be, I'm not a robot, agree and continue, okay? And then from there, it's then gonna go ahead and load up to the next page. And you'll see once it goes ahead and shows up here, it's going to say, cool, sign in to your admin console over here, right? So we're going to go ahead and enter in. So it's support at whatever your domain is there. You're going to go to next. And then you're going to go over here to entering in your password, whatever your password was. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and enter my password there. Go ahead and click on next from there. And then it's going to go ahead and ask for you to go ahead and actually verify your phone number. So give me a second here. I'm just going to go ahead and skip this. But in your case, you're not going to skip this, okay? Because I don't want to have to show some, because you got to put a valid phone number here. So you're going to go ahead and enter in your phone number, and you're going to get an SMS code, and you're going to go ahead and enter in that code that gets sent over to your phone number. Okay, so whatever that number is going to be, whatever code they verified over to you, they do this so that way they make sure that you're not a robot. You're not just, people go ahead and create unlimited numbers of accounts. So that way it actually verifies that you are a human being. So then you go ahead and click on verify from there. It's going to have some sort of, create new account. Cool, I understand. No issues there. And then once this goes ahead and loads, what's going to do is going to walk you through an onboarding process. Now, this is very important. This right here says this is Business Plus. And what it's doing here is kind of funny because this is not the $6 a month that we actually want. What they're doing is they're actually upselling you to the higher version of this. So we're actually going to walk you through in just a second how to downgrade to the $6 a month. So that way you're not having to pay $21 per month. So for right now, we are going to go ahead and proceed with 14 days. And then once we actually get into the admin console, we'll go ahead and show you how to go ahead and actually make this the starter plan. So that way it's cheaper for you. So right now we're going to go ahead and continue, try free for 14 days. And then right over here, you're going to see that it is going to go ahead and ask you to enter in your information, right? Your billing information is going to go all in here. Now I want to go ahead and clarify, this is for Business Plus, but it's going to be 14 days at no charge. Okay. Now that's $21. Now, if you follow our instructions, you're going to proceed with this, but then before your 14 days are up, we're going to go ahead in just a second. Once we actually get in, I'll walk you through how to downgrade. So that way you don't have any issues with having to pay $21. You can pay $6 a month instead. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, this is the advanced tips. These are the pro tips. And the reason why you're a part of this program, the reason why we're showing you the system and the strategy is because these are things that new business owners, these are things that when we first started, we were paying $21 a month for a long time because Google upsold us and we didn't even know there was a different plan. And so that's the reason why as you go through this program and you're getting the system and the strategy, you're able to go ahead and literally shortcut your way to understanding how a proper business is supposed to run, because we're going ahead and giving you the system and the strategy and the pro tips on how all of this actually functions together. Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and do from here is I'm going to go ahead and fill this information out, right? Because this is a demo account. They're not going to allow us to proceed unless I go ahead and fill this out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and on your side, you want to pause this and you want to go ahead and follow through and you want to actually fill all of this information, right? Your name, your address, right? All of that you want to fill in. Your primary contact over here, you can go ahead and fill that out. And then your payment method, again, don't worry, it's not going to charge you $21 because you have that 14-day trial right now. And then I will see you on the next screen. So let's go ahead and cut over to that now. So once you've gone ahead and hit agree and continue, it is going to go ahead and take you over to the review and checkout page. It's going to load for a second. And then just like that, it's going to get you into the actual admin console that is going to be for your at domain Google workspace. Okay, so it's going to say, we're glad you're here. Okay, very good. So it's going to walk you through some onboarding. And the very first thing it's going to do is going to walk you through how to actually verify ownership of your domain. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and click on next. It's going to go ahead and say, hey, do you want to create any additional accounts for your team members? And it's going to go ahead and activate Gmail for that right there. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this step by step. We're going to do this together so that way you can make sure that you do not get stuck with this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on protect. And it's going to say, cool, I'm ready to go ahead and protect my domain. And then once you go ahead and do that, it's going to say, cool, what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and have you log into your Cloudflare account. And it's going to go ahead and do all of that setup on your behalf automatically. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on sign in to verify. It's then going to go ahead and pop in. And right over here, it's going to ask you to go ahead and log in to your Cloudflare account. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to go ahead and hit login. So once you go ahead and hit login, it's going to go ahead and walk you through that, right? It's going to say, cool, you went ahead and logged in. It's going to ask for authorization in order to go ahead and do and change some of the DNS settings. So again, you don't have to know too much about DNS settings. We do our best here when we're trying to make this system and this strategy for you to go ahead and make it so that way it's as easy as possible for you. And that's why when we set this system up, we want to make sure for you as the new business owner, you're not getting overwhelmed with this. That's the reason why when we make our choices of how we create these trainings, we want to make sure that whatever the process we walk walk you through doesn't overwhelm you or doesn't overcomplicate. And that's one of the things here that we're seeing. And the reason why we've methodically chosen this process for you. So that way you don't have to mess with the DNS settings yourself. All you got to do is authorize it for Cloudflare. And then it's going to go ahead and Google's going to do all the work for you, right? So you go ahead and click on authorize. And then once you go ahead and do that, it is going to go ahead and verify your domain with Cloudflare all in the background. Now, sometimes this does take a little while. Okay, so you can see on here, it says you can close this page and return later, like to say 5 minutes left is what it's saying. So what you can do is you can actually go ahead and just leave the computer open if you want. You can just go ahead and walk around, go get some steps in. And then when you come back, hopefully the domain should be verified by then. Now on that previous screen, all I did was I did go ahead and hit that X at the top left. So you did see that there was an X right over here with that blue screen. All I did was I hit that X that was right there. And then it did take me over here. So it looks like the domain was protected, even though it did say that it had 5 minutes left. It looks like it was already good. So all you had to do was hit the X. You could go ahead and close out that screen with the X that was there on the left side. From there, it's going to say, hey, do you want to create any more users, right? So if I click on create, this is going to be if you actually had other users, let's say some other team members or something, it would go ahead and charge $21 per user. Obviously, we don't want to do that. So that's going to be something that we go ahead and for right now, we're going to ignore. Then from right over here, we're going to go ahead and activate Gmail. So we're going to go ahead and click on activate. Okay. And it's going to say, cool, are all existing theyassin.com email addresses added? Okay. Is now the best time to update your email settings? After you activate Gmail, updates can take 48 hours, right? So in the meantime, you'll still get email addresses at your old email client. So in this case, because this is a brand new, we don't have an email client, it's okay for us to go ahead and proceed. But if you are in an exception situation or, some of this may apply to you, then obviously you want to be careful with this, right? So we go ahead and click on, I'm ready to activate Gmail. And again, it's going to do, again, the reason why we went ahead and set up the system and strategy for you this way, in this specific way, is so that way you do not have to worry about having to log in and change DNS settings. We try to make it as simple as possible for you. So what you do is you click on sign in to activate. Again, why did we recommend Cloudflare? You see, there was a method to this madness. I don't think a lot of people understand that there are gurus out there, but just because a guru got an outcome doesn't mean that they're good at educating others to get that same outcome, right? And so the reason why when we create this entire system and the strategy, it wasn't random that we recommended Cloudflare, because Cloudflare has amazing integrations with all the other providers. So that way they allow this one click. You see, just like this, one click, we're able to go ahead and very easily add all of the DNS settings. Otherwise, you'd have to manually go into the DNS settings and do this yourself, which is a very, very big pain. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and once again authorize Google to do this. Now, if you do see this is because I had some other settings in this test domain, because we use this test domain for a lot of stuff. Now, normally you shouldn't see this. Okay. So if you do see this, then that's going to be something that you want to go ahead and reach out to the community, because there is some additional steps if you have any errors with this. So give me just a second. I'm going to go ahead and clear these errors out, because we use this domain as a test. And that's the reason why we have some additional DNS settings that are conflicting with these other DNS settings. So we got to go ahead and clean this up. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and be right back. Okay. So I went ahead and cleared those out of our backend here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and click on sign in to activate. And then it should go ahead and not give me that error any longer, because I went ahead and cleaned that. So yep, exactly. Now it does allow me to authorize. Again, you shouldn't see that. If you do run into any issues, make sure you do reach out in the community, but we're going to go ahead and click on authorize from there. And you're going to see that it says there was an error. Okay. So let's refresh here for just a second. And let's see, it says there was an error. I'm going to go ahead and sign in once again and see what it does for us here. Okay, so right over here, it looks like it is duplicating this over here. Again, it doesn't look like this is an issue because it should be fine. I'm going to hit authorize, and it's going to say that cool, do confirmation deletion. Now, again, you may not have these issues. Okay, so again, I'm running into these issues because we use this domain for other things, but I'm going to go ahead and delete conflicts, and then hopefully this time around it should work, which I think it is. There we go. Beautiful. So we're good to go with that. And now what's going to happen is that from here, I can actually go ahead, and if I hit these dots over here, I can go ahead and click on Gmail. Okay, so in this case, what it did is that when I went over to Gmail, it actually logged me into my personal @Gmail, right? So in this case, what you can do, and we're going to walk you through how to go ahead and set up Google Chrome profiles, because Google Chrome profiles are going to allow you to be able to go ahead and have multiple Google Chrome profiles. So I would recommend not doing it this way, but you can do it this way as well. You could go like on add account there, and then you could go ahead and log in. You go, support at, in my case, the domain name is going to be like this. And then you enter in your password, you hit next, and then it is actually going to go ahead and see, it's going to say continue in a new Chrome profile. This is going to create your browsing from, a separate one. Now, again, if you want to go ahead and create that right now, you can, but we are going to walk you through an entire separate kind of tutorial on how all of these Chrome profiles work. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and click on no thanks, and you'll see that right now I have both my personal and the @domain here in the exact same Chrome profile. Now, this is actually probably not the best recommended way. Again, we're going to walk you through the Google Chrome profiles later on. But the big thing that I want to go ahead and close out here is because I did say that we need to downgrade your account so that way it doesn't charge you $21 per month. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so what you're going to do, if you exited this screen out, you're going to go over to admin.google.com. Okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to admin.google.com. And then once you go to admin.google.com, it's going to say, hey, go ahead and log in. Now, you want to make sure you're logging in not from your normal @Gmail. If that is what's showing up, you got to make sure that you're logging in from your domain email, okay? So then you're going to go ahead and enter in the password for your domain email. You're going to go ahead and click on next. Okay, it's going to go ahead and get you logged into the admin. You see on here, Body Forge Wellness. This is the entire kind of behind the scenes admin portal. Let me go ahead and expand this for you a little bit more here. Okay, then what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go ahead and click on billing on the left side. So you see right there, there says billing right there. Let me go ahead and highlight it for you right here. So billing, you're going to go ahead and click on billing. And then this is how you're going to downgrade. So that way you can get around Google's upsell on you here. Okay, so you go to subscriptions right here. And then you'll see that it says Google Workspace Business Plus, right? Paid service starts in 13 days. So we're going to click on this right over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on upgrade or downgrade. This is very important, okay? Because unless you want to pay $21 a month. Now there is some additional benefit. You get some additional space, space, storage, all that kind of stuff. But we don't care about that right now because we're just starting out in business. We want to get the starter plan. So we're going to go ahead and click on upgrade or downgrade. And then from there, it's going to go ahead and give us the option, right? It's going to give us the option right over here. You'll see that it went ahead and actually upsold us, I think, almost to the most expensive one, right? Almost to the most expensive ones, right? So right now we're on the Business Plus. The one that we want to be on, which it didn't give us the option to sign up for from the very beginning, is going to be the Business Starter Plan, okay? So we're going to go ahead and actually click on downgrade. And then once we click on downgrade, it's going to go ahead and kind of give us a warning like, hey, you're downgrading from Business Plus to Business Starter. It says, hey, you're going to go down from 5 terabytes of storage to 30 gigabytes per user. It's going to tell you like, hey, you don't get access to some of these features. All of that is perfectly fine because right now where you are at, the starter plan is going to be more than enough if you're going down this route. So you then go to next, okay? And then it does give you the option here to do the annual plan. That's going to take it down to $6 per user per month, or the flexible plan, which is going to be the $7.20 per user per month if you want to go month by month, right? So the $6 is going to be for the annual. Now, this is totally up to you how you want to do it. I will be honest with you. You can always come back and do the annual plan. The way that I have always done it is that in the beginning, I do not do annual plans. This is what I do. I start off with the flexible plan. This is the way that we've always done it in our companies, okay? We start off with the month by month. And then what we kind of just do is we kind of build that momentum. So, if you pay for month by month for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then once you're like, you know what, I'm 3 months in, I'm using this securely, I'm starting to make money. Remember, our entire philosophy is that we want to make sure that this is as lean as possible for you, right? And so our recommendation, otherwise you're going to have to pay 6 times, 12, you're going to end up paying a whole bunch more money, right? $60 plus, right? $72. Instead of doing that, we would recommend start off with the month by month and then just put a reminder somewhere, right? You can put a reminder anywhere on your phone or whatever. And then let's say 3 months from now, you're like, for sure, I'm going to be keeping this domain. I'm going to be keeping this username. I'm going to be keeping everything like that. Then you can always come back and upgrade to the annual. Again, that's just our opinion. You're more than welcome to do whatever you want. You might have your own strategy. We're just educating you on the things that we have done. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the checkout from there. And then from there, it's going to go ahead and say, cool, do you want to go ahead and place your order? Now, in my case, I'm not going to proceed because this is just a test. I don't want to go ahead and start getting billed for $7.20 per user. But in your case, you are going to go ahead and place the order. And then it might go ahead and ask you to confirm your card information and all that kind of stuff. And once you've done that, you may go ahead and get charged immediately $7.20 because of the fact that I think when you downgrade from a trial of the more expensive plan, it basically like negates your trial. So Google is naughty like this, right? So they want to make sure that they're upselling you in this way. So it's okay. It's $7.20 per month, but that is the cost of now having your entire Google Workspace Business Starter Plan up and going. And then the beautiful thing is that you have your own inbox. You'll see on here, this is the actual inbox for the support. So you'll see support@theyasin.com. So there was a little bit extra setup that we had to go through, right? So we talked about over here where there's a little bit extra setup and there is a cost. So instead of $6 per month, it's $7.20 per month. But there's a little bit extra cost, a little bit more initial setup, but that's it. You're good pretty much for the entire career of your business career. And so that's the beautiful thing about getting this set up properly. So does that make sense? Make sure you do not forget to go ahead and place order and check out. And then that's going to be it. You're pretty much done with the @domain.com. You can go ahead and start sending yourself an email at support@whatever your domain name is. And you can test because you're set up the way that I walked you through with the Cloudflare integrations and the authorizations and the DNS settings. That should have taken care of all of the email and the DNS settings and the domain settings and all of that. If you do, of course, run into any issues, make sure that you do reach out to the community. And that's a really quick reminder for that as well, right? Please be resourceful. Please flex your resourceful muscles, because a lot of what we have learned through this, yes, is through trial and error, but a lot of it is also through YouTube and Googling, right? So if you can't actually figure this out, and if it's, let's say something changed, or, these software companies change their UI all the time, like go out there, and I'm sure there's a amazing YouTube video that's going to walk you through, hey, how do I sign up for a Google Workspace starter account, right? It's going to have videos about that. Obviously, we've created our own to be able to facilitate this for you. But the other thing is to remember, hey, this is a community. And so what we are doing is we're planting the seeds of what has worked for us. What have we learned? What we have learned from other community members, what we've learned from other people who are in the community who had best practices that we learned from them, right? And so whenever you learn something, if you learn like, hey, maybe in this training, maybe this wasn't the best way to do it. Maybe there's a better way to do it. If you learn something, share it. And if you're struggling, share that as well, because there's going to be people who figure this out who are going to be able to help you, because this is no guru on the mountain. This is a community. Make sure you give as you are asking, because it is that cycle, that virtuous cycle there, right? So make sure that you are tapping into the community, that you are sharing, and we are learning together. So if you do run into any issues, make sure you go ahead and post in the community. If you don't run into any issues and you figured this out, make sure you go into the community and help others with things that you have already figured out as well. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the entire step-by-step for option number 1, which is getting your @domain.com set up. Congratulations. We walked through it step by step. I literally did the entire thing with you throughout this training section. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is next up, we're going to talk to you about how to set up Google Chrome profiles. So make sure you go ahead and check that next step out. But congratulations, you made it through it. We will catch you in the next training section.